Morning, Sunday, September 20th, 2020. Welcome to Walmer Sunday School. Our lesson title this morning is Love versus Guilt. The lesson is found in Genesis chapter 42, verses 6 through 25. The lesson this morning is Joseph encountering his brothers for the first time since they sold him into slavery. And just as Joseph predicted back when he was a boy, there was his brothers coming to him, basically bowing down to him, seeking something. And they didn't know that Joseph was their brother, but they knew what they did years ago. And just to quickly unfold things, Joseph spent time in prison. He had a lot of bad days because of the choice that his brothers made towards him. And the way I want to define that today is just simple family jealousy. Joseph had dreams as a boy. He told his brothers about the dreams, and they became extremely jealous of him and sold him into slavery, and then told their father that he was killed. And so years later, Joseph's a very powerful man. In fact, he's the most powerful man in all the land next to Pharaoh. And there's a famine, and now Joseph's brothers are in need. And he has a choice. He can either just flat out punish them for what they did to him, which in our human mindset, maybe that's what they deserved, or he could see if they actually felt guilt, remorse, which they did in this case, and he ended up forgiving them. They ended up having restoration in their family, and of course we know they become the 12 tribes of Israel. I think it's on some level we're all confronted with situations similar in family. But the one thing I want to point out today is jealousy. Jealousy is a tactic that Satan uses over and over and over and over. And I think he uses two tactics often. One is fear, and the second is jealousy. I think in family situations, jealousy is more often used, and in social situations, I think fear is more often used. So those are two very important keys today to think about that I want to point out. And you can ask yourself how that affected you and your family relationships or any friendship relationships. And in this case, we have a choice, and the choice is love or not. The choice is forgiveness or not. We can keep people at bay and still love them, yes. If they're toxic and it's going to cause strife in other places, that's a choice we need to make. But in many cases, Jesus instructs us to choose forgiveness, or in every case we have to choose to forgive, but in many cases, do we choose to forgive and reconcile? And that's the important part that we see today, that Joseph did in fact do that. He was in a very desolate situation when his brothers sold him into slavery, but ultimately he did choose to forgive. We would say he took the higher road and restored his family, and ultimately became God's chosen people, Israel. And it was those choices along the way that helped to promote that. So I just want to challenge you today. We've all been through family situations. We all have things that we consider wrongs toward us. But how do we handle that? You know, there are many cases we all think we're right, and we are. Maybe there are cases where we think we're right and maybe we're not. Maybe it's not about being right. In this case, Joseph was right. But his dedication to God and his willingness to forgive prevailed over any correctness that he could have had. So that's one thing we need to remember. And it's not about always being right, it's about love, it's about forgiveness. And if we can't find that immediately, that's okay. That's okay. Pray about it. Joseph in this story didn't find it. I don't think he found it immediately. He challenged them first. If you read the chapter 6 through 42, 6 through 25, he challenged them first. He gave them some parameters. So look at that, read that, consider that, and see maybe how this affects your life, because I'm sure some of you at the sound of my voice are going through some situations similar and would like to reconcile. And sometimes it just takes the first step. So, challenge you today to do that. Inspect your life and watch out for jealousy moving forward. This is a jealous world. Satan uses it over and over. Just guard yourself. That's my advice. So thank you. I hope everybody has a great week and enjoy these cool, crisp days ahead.